you see where we're going to be. Unfortunately, my last few videos didn't actually record, so you will see me right now undoing this work because all these pretty rows that I have, or rounds that I have done, I get to undo. So right here I get to undo this guy, and I get to unweave all of this and rip it out. So this is what we will have very soon, so you get to see it, but we actually have to go back to this. So now I'm back to here and ready to start round 32. So it's always frustrating to undo perfectly good work, but I saved the yarn, so hopefully I'll be able to use it for another project. So round 32, we're going to join the dark blue yarn right here, and we want to join in the first stitch of an increase. So I got an increase right here. Here's my first stitch. You'll notice because I've undone work on this round, all the loops are a little loose from when I did it before, so it looks a little silly, but it should be okay. So we are going to do 7 single crochet. The chain that connected with counts as 1. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to do front post stitches to connect up with the blue front post stitches from before. So double trebles for all of these. We're going to yarn over 3 times, do a front post into here. These are just connecting up the stitches, so in the end it looks like it goes much longer than it does on any one individual round. We are going to, oops, sorry, my notes are covered up. We are going to skip this stitch right here. The one we did in the blue counts as that one. And we are going to do 16 single crochet. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So I'm just going to check that count really quickly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've redone it once. I don't really want to redo it again, so I'm just going to be careful. So after our 16 single crochet, we're going to do another front post into the blue one that's now behind us. So yarn over 3 times for the double treble, go around the blue one from before, and finish the stitch. To finish out the repeat, we are not going to skip this next stitch. Usually we do, or often we do, but we're not going to this time. That's going to give us our sort of hidden increase for this round. We're going to go right into that with a single crochet and do 4 total. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if we look here, our work is set up, so our next stitch will be in the first stitch of an increase, which is where we started in the beginning. So quick review, join in the first stitch of an increase you want 7 single crochet, a front post double treble, so yarn over 3 times, go around this blue one here, skip the stitch, 16 single crochet, another front post double treble, so yarn over 3 times and go around this blue stitch here, don't skip anything, and 4 single crochet. That's the repeat. Go around 8 times before the next round. Okay, round 33, back to white yarn. So we're going to join in a slightly odd place for this round because we're going to continue these white overlay front post stitches around the blue so that we keep sort of sandwiching the blue inside 2 of the whites. So to do that, we are going to start with the 4th stitch before one of these right hands. So if you see the V right here, we're going to go from this being the right hand one, we want the 4th stitch before this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look, it's actually right above this long pink front post or long pink overlay stitch from before. So for the repeat, for the count, we're going to have 3 single crochet. The join counts as 1, 2, 3. And you notice that brings us right up to the stitch before the blue overlay. So for this one, we're going to go a double treble front post, so yarn over 3 times, go around the white one on the outside, finish the stitch, we're going to skip 1, stitch 1 in the blue there. Now we get to do the front post on the other side, so yarn over 3 times, go around the white one, and finish the stitch. After that, we're going to skip this one and do just 2 single crochet for now because we need to work an increase in there. So 2 single crochet followed by an increase, and now we're back to single crochet. We want to get all the way over here to the stitch before this blue front post. So it should be 11 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. You notice now I'm at the stitch before the front post. So this gets to be our overlay stitch. We're going to go into this first white front post stitch, skip 1, stitch 1, so it goes into the front post there. Now we get to do the other side. Yarn over 3 times, go around that guy, skip this stitch, and 6 more should bring us back to where we started. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's it, 6, sorry. Getting carried away, just gonna go forever. So that was 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which should leave us with the next stitch being over this pink one, which is where we started. If you recall, 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches before the blue. So we're lined up now right above the pink, or coral, I should say, front post stitch from before. So this is what our repeat's gonna look like. We're sandwiching these blue ones inside of 2 white front post stitches. So join at the 4th stitch before the blue. That's gonna be right above the coral front post. You're gonna have 3 single crochet, the front post into this first one here, skip a stitch, stitch 1, another front post into this white, skip a stitch. Now, even though there are all stitches here, you're just gonna do 2 single crochet to begin with, then an increase. So we have our front post, skip 1, 2 single crochet, an increase, and now complete single crochet up until the stitch before this blue. So that is going to be 11 single crochet right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That last one always kind of hides underneath here. There's the 11th one. You're going to do your front post around this inside white, skip a stitch, stitch 1, single crochet, another front post around the outside white, skip a stitch, and then 6 to finish it out. That's the repeat. Go ahead and do that all the way around, and then we're ready for round number 34. Okay, now that we've finished those white overlay stitches in the last round, we're going to move on to round 34, where it's another one of those pick the color of your choice kind of rounds. If you have variegated yarn like I used before, that looks great on this round. Any scrap yarn you've got that's the same weight will work, any color of your choice really. It's again one of those standalone rounds that doesn't connect up to anything else, so it really doesn't matter what you use. You just want to make sure that it contrasts nicely with the white, because we're going to be doing spike stitches over the white, so you want it to show up. So I've got a little bit of this lavender yarn left over from when I used it earlier. I'm going to use that, but as I said, you know, color of your choice, whatever you like. To start, we need to find an increase, so I've got one here, and like I said, this is going to be spikes, so it's going to be single crochet, spike stitch, single crochet, spike, back and forth, alternating. We're going to throw an increase in there at some point. And you kind of need to be careful about starting and finishing repeats, because it's going into this increase where we have 2 in the same stitch. So one of them's going to be a single crochet, one of them's going to be a spike. So it kind of looks like they overlap while you're doing it, but you need to make sure you have both stitches. So we're going to start in the 2nd stitch of the increase with a single crochet. When we join, it's just a chain stitch, but that counts as our single crochet. And now we're going to alternate that and a spike stitch. So there's the single, here's the spike. Remember, the spike stitch goes around the whole stitch from the previous round. And then it's just a single crochet. So instead of going in the back loop or the front loop, we go all the way down around the whole thing. So that's 1. We're going to do this 6 times. Two, just alternating single crochet and a spike. So single, spike, and remember when doing those spike stitches, you want to pull the yarn up so that it's level with the other stitches from this round. So this is where we're at here after the single crochet. When we do the spike, you want to bring that yarn all the way back up to the top before you finish the stitch. Single, spike, single, and be careful with this last one, it kind of hides underneath the front post, but there is one more stitch there that's going to be a spike stitch. I got the tail sticking back there, sorry. Get this up, get that tail out. So you'll notice our last stitch before these overlays is a spike stitch. So as I said, we ended up having 6 of those before we get to the overlay stitches. These front posts, we're not going to do any spike stitches in them because we don't really have anything to go around, so we're just going to do 3 single crochet to get past that. Now when we're back to regular stitches here, we're going to continue going back and forth, alternating, that's the word I was looking for, spike stitches and single crochet, starting with a spike. So on each side of the overlay front post stitches, we're going to have a spike. So next stitch here, this is where we're going to throw our increase. So it's going to count as just a single crochet in the alternating stitches, but we're going to throw 2 in the same stitch. So we have those 2 right there. Now we're just going to continue with alternating spike and single crochet. So spike, single, spike, single, just going until we get to the next bunch of front post stitches. And like I said before, the last stitch before the front post stitches is a spike. So you always start and finish around the front post stitches with a spike. Now just 3 single crochet to get past these guys. We're really close to the end of our repeat here. If you notice, here's my increase from the last round, so we only have a few more. First stitch and last stitch before the front posts, always a spike, so we're going to do a spike here, a single crochet, and then the last stitch in the repeat is going to be a spike stitch into this increase. So that's going to be technically the first stitch of the increase. What you want to make sure of now, that's the whole repeat, is that when you start your next repeat, you got to go into that second stitch of the increase to do your first single crochet. So in this increase from the last round, again, you're going to have the last spike stitch from one repeat and the first single crochet from the next repeat. And you want to be careful with that, because that means all the way, once you get all the way around and you come back to here, your very last stitch of the entire round is going to be a spike stitch into, or actually around, this single crochet that's the first part of this increase. So you want to make sure you don't forget that final spike stitch here. So looking at it again, you take that one out, that's the first stitch of the next repeat. You're going to join in the second stitch of an increase and alternate spike and single crochet stitches all the way to the front post. You should have 6 pairs before. We have our front post stitches here, so 3 single crochet to get past those. Start again with a spike stitch. Your next one, throw in an increase. Now continue the spike stitches, alternating with single crochet all the way up to this front post, so you end up with 4 spikes before this front set of front post stitches. 3 single crochet, again another spike on the other side, a single crochet, and 1 final spike to finish it out. That's the repeat, alternating spike and single crochet stitches with the increase here, making sure that you always do a spike before and after the front posts. That's it. Round 35 is next.